This is fun/not fun product management process edition. Let's start, shall we? Product discovery. Fun! Product discovery is one of the most enjoyable processes in product management, in my opinion. Figuring out what problems people have, what could be the solutions that you could create for them, working together with customers. This is a very enjoyable part of the product management process. Product vision. Fun! Creating a product vision is a quite interesting process once you have understood what is the problem that you are solving and how you are going to solve it and where do you want to be that solution in the future. This is a very interesting and a very cool exercise to do, especially working together with your team. Product strategy. Fun! Being able to break that vision, that goal that you have, investigating and figuring out what are going to be the most important areas to develop to actually achieve that goal. Very interesting. User research. Fun! Because talking with your customers should be one of the most important parts and most interesting parts of your job. Understanding them, empathizing with them, seeing what are the problems that they have, what are their needs, and how you could help them solving those needs. Taking deep dives with your users and actually niche down what are the customer personas that you really are solving the problems for, and what are their specific problems, because they're always going to be different. Market research. Not fun. Market research can be an interesting process to do, but sometimes it can be relatively tedious and sometimes not easy to find the information. And I would say that is not something that many people will like to do. Understanding what is the potential size of your market, taking those deep dives, there's a lot of assumptions that you had to take, a lot of research that you had to do. It can be very time consuming. The reality is that you are always working with an estimation. So for some people, not going to be the most interesting job to do. Planning your product. Fun! Planning your product is actually a very interesting process and a very interesting exercise, especially if you're doing it with your team and you're doing it together as a cross-functional exercise. It's great if you are using tools that help you do the prioritization, that help you understand which ones are going to be the most valuable parts or features to be developing your product, and help you plan, prioritize those ones over sprints, iterations, or a roadmap. Customer journey. Fun! Being able to understand how people are actually going to be discovering your product, how they're going to consider your product, how they're going to purchase it, how you are going to service and optimize your product in the future, and how you are going to create the ways for people to be more loyal to your product is a very, very important and very interesting exercise, because this really can help you creating a successful product. If you have a good journey, people are going to be much more satisfied when they are actually considering or discovering or using your product. Very important steps, not just about the features, not just about the actual value of the product, but the whole journey as an experience for the users. Business case. Not fun. Not something that many people are going to be willing to do, doing a business case, although I think it is important, I think it's relevant. It's going to help you a lot positioning your product, understanding where it's going to be in the future, understanding what are potentially budget needs, understanding what are the marketing efforts. Very related to the customer journey, but many cases when people are trying to do a business case, it gets more difficult, it gets more complex. It's a quite big job in general and not something that people are willing to do. It's not something that you should never do it in one go, in my opinion. You should do it over time. You can grow it as you are growing and you are planning your product, but probably not the most interesting exercise for many people, product people out there. Backlog management. Not fun. Planning resources, planning when you are going to do certain features, making sure that all the steps are actually taken, making sure that tasks are done, that the definition of done is actually covered. It is quite much of a sometimes an admin job and sometimes a little bit leaning toward the project management job. That is not necessarily the most fun part of being a product manager. Feature specification. Not fun. No matter how you write a feature specification, nobody's going to be happy about it. If you do it that is very focused on the user case and on the value for the customer, sometimes engineering teams are going to be frustrated because they don't have enough engineer or technical details. If you lean too much towards the technical side, then the people from like business side, sales, marketing, they're not going to be happy because it doesn't have enough information about the benefits for the customers. And if you try to do it all, it's going to be a really long process and it's going to take you a lot of time. You should try to do it, for everybody. Most likely, you're never going to be satisfying everybody's needs and wishes of what the feature specification should be. Product execution, fun. Product execution is a very, very cool part of product development, of the product management process, because you finally are seeing your product start to develop. You have validated with your customers, you have discovered the problems, you have made sure that those are real and that you are having good mock-ups and prototypes of what it's going to be. Being able then to work with your team and grow and build that product and see how it's evolving over time. Really cool, really interesting phase. Go to market, fun. Because having a product doesn't mean that your users are going to use it. Go to market is a very key part of your process. It's how you are going to get this product to be discovered by the users, be purchased by the users, very linked obviously to the customer journey that has been defined earlier on. And a process that, yes, sometimes might be frustrated to try to align everybody that has to participate on it, but a very, very cool process that is going to make sure that people are actually going to be aware of your product and that they are going to be able to adopt it easily. Product release, not fun. Because we have all been in those product releases where nothing works and where something goes upside down, and it can be nerve-wracking when you are trying to maybe close down the last feature or fix the last bugs, because we probably have been all there when somebody just finds a problem in the previous day of the release or the day of the release, and then everything has to be changed and redone. And yeah, it can be a, let's say, interesting and sometimes very stressing process. Testing, not fun. Testing can have many parts and can be, for some people especially, a little bit tedious. For product managers, when they had to manually test features that have been developed by the engineering team, this can be sometimes a little bit of a tedious process because it can have many iterations. They know how it's going to be working, and very easily it can become a little bit of a boring task because they have done it many times, meaning that sometimes maybe product managers are not going to be testing that well because they have tested many times. Planning testing, automating testing, testing with customers. There's many different tests that can help make this a more interesting task. But when it comes to the actual product manager testing on their own, sometimes not the most fun process. Product tracking, fun. Being able to see how users are actually adopting your product, which areas your product is actually achieving that product market fit, in which areas your product might be failing and people might be struggling to get the value that they should be getting. Very important, very key. It's going to help you make better decisions, plan your product better, and make sure that your users are getting value out of it. Optimizing your product, fun. Incrementally release and improve your product so it actually is getting closer and closer to that vision that you have set in the past, to those strategic areas that you think that you had to reach and cover in order for your product to be successful. Very important part of the process of product management and product development. So out of the 16 product management steps, 10 were fun, 6 were not fun. Do you agree with my take? Let us know in the comments below. I will see you in the next one, and remember, stay safe.